We are talking about dopamine distractions. We are talking about the basically casino, the gambling habit that you have right on your phone and you use it every day, and it's called social media. And there's other distractions too, but we're focusing on this one distraction today. So if you're ready to tap in, make sure you are following, smash that subscribe button. If you don't catch me live every day, you got to follow me on YouTube. So make sure you follow on YouTube for the replay and all of that good stuff. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. Sending love to my Niji, to the Merry Indians, OCO to my Niji. Sending love to our ancestors. Sending love to all the beautiful people around the world. To my beautiful, autochthonous, copper tone beings. Sending love and hugs to you. And this morning, make sure you go out and get some of the sunlight. If you got sunlight around you today, don't be stuck in that building. Get you some sunlight. And today we're talking about distractions because myself, I've been distracted lately. I've been doing this consistency project for a whole year. And let me tell y'all that I have been failing miserably. And it's not funny to me. I really want to be consistent. But guess what? I realized I'm way too distracted. So we talking about it this morning, dopamine distractions, the science of losing control and taking it back. Are you ready to take your control back and get rid of these distractions? We got 3 clear goals today. Number 1 is to educate with clear definitions, right? Number 2, we want to expose the system that is keeping us so distracted. And number 3, I'm going to give you practical control tips to help us eliminate these distractions and take back our life every single day. All it takes is one day to change your mindset. Yesterday, I had that epiphany. I was like, I'm way too distracted. Let's really take it clinical for a second. All right? Because right now, what you're experiencing isn't random. It's neurological. It really goes down to the cellular level. It's psychological. It really goes down to the mental level. The amount of distractions that we face every single day. It is literally time to take your mind back. It's time to take your mind back, right? This is behavioral conditioning. First term we're going to talk about, which is what you see on the screen, is dopamine. You heard that dopamine before. So when you feel like you're distracted, your brain is crying out like this little guy you see here in the top left corner. It might be your right corner, but for me, it's the top left corner, right? But for you, it might be the right corner. You see him, he's in agony because he's so distracted. He's not accomplishing his goals. Every day he wake up with can't accomplish his goals, right? And that's not random. That's behavioral conditioning. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter produced in the brain, right? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter produced in the brain, primarily in areas like the ventral tegmental area. Its role isn't just pleasure. Sometimes you can get overstimulated. The next slide. We're talking about the dopamine reward system. So with dopamine, you get motivation. You do something, the dopamine is released. That feeling goes away. You want it again. You do it again. Dopamine is a very important neurotransmitter, right? But with social media, it causes it to be released all the time. When you stroll, you're getting constant hits of dopamine. Like when people go gambling. Those little red dots you see, that's the neurotransmitter inside of the synaptic vesicle. So it's going to go out, and when it gets a signal, it gets released into this little area, and then it goes and attaches to the dopamine receptor. Now this is going to signal something in your body, and that's what we're talking about today. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter produced in the brain, primarily in areas like here. Dopamine, this chemical that you see here, is a chemical of motivation, reward, prediction, and reinforcement learning. What tells your brain when you're doom strolling is what I call it, and you're distracted and you're not accomplishing your goals. It feels like the day is going faster. It feels like you can't even work all day and you're distracted on the internet all day and you're not being a creator. You're just watching. You're absorbing all of these different energies. You're absorbing all of this negativity or positivity. You could be absorbing some good stuff all day or negative stuff all day, but are you using that to create? If you sitting and you're doing CE courses, you're learning, that's different because now you're actually focusing on yourself. You're waking up, you're brushing your teeth, you're flossing your teeth. You're not just waking up strolling. How many people pick up the phone and stroll to see their notifications before they go to the mirror and brush their teeth? How many people are doing that? And then you get into the chat and you cause chaos in the chat, but you didn't even brush and floss your teeth today. Digital halitosis, right? But in reality, you really may not be brushing and flossing because you're engaged. Instead of being engaged with your own health, yourself, you're engaged with everybody else. The dopamine that you get from social media, it feels like a reward. No matter what side you're on, if you're on the creator side, you get the rewards because you're monetized. So you want to keep doing it until your brain is just too distracted and you need a little break from it. But if you're on the other side, what is the limit for you to say, you know what, I'm having too many dopamine hits. Every time I stroll and see something funny, chaotic, you see the news, you see propaganda all over the place. This is distracting you. It's constantly releasing dopamine. So you getting this signal coming out and it feels like you're getting a reward, but you're really not. Strolling. Yes. When you're strolling on TikTok, these algorithms are created to keep you doom strolling. So many times you don't even see that there really is no end. Now they may be putting ends to it, but you could just stroll forever and click this button. And before you know it, 3 hours has passed in your day and you have done nothing creative with yourself. Dopamine tells your brain when something is a reward, is it worth repeating? All these different things. So this is what happens in the chemical scheme of things. The next thing we want to talk about is influence. Because you hear that word often right now. So a lot of people are doing influencing on you, and maybe you following a lot of influencers, so you're being influenced every day, not just by a couple people. Some people I see, they're being influenced by so many different people, so many different opinions, whether that's good or bad, but what is true to you without any direct force, you know? Influence is the ability to shape an individual's thoughts, emotions, or behaviors without direct force. When you hear people say, I'm an influencer, that they have an effect on you without directly controlling you. Because the ultimate decision is yours, right? When you're getting influenced by people, guess what's happening? Your thoughts are changing, your emotions are changing, and your behaviors are changing. That's what strolling does. So not only are you being influenced, but that influence causes you to release dopamine because something happens, whether you get excited or, when you're strolling, you laugh, or whatever happens. But this isn't a direct force that the influencers have. But when the dopamine is released, that's, to me, is direct. So it's kind of like almost direct. If you're strolling every day, you're spending 6 hours a day just on social media or attached to your phone. This repetition, these emotional triggers, all this social proof. Now you being influenced and everything is changing about you and you don't even know it. Let's just look it up deeper. Propaganda is the dissemination of information, facts, arguments, rumors, truths, or lies to influence public opinion, right? And it's often conveyed through. So when you constantly see war going on, the economy drama, this drama, whether it's bad news, good news, when you see all of these things, sometimes people pay to have this propaganda in your face. They will pay for that, right? They will pay for that. So that's what politicians do. They use propaganda to influence you, to kind of coerce you, make a decision in their favor. So propaganda is designed to shape your perception, your behavior, and it bypasses your critical thinking and it appeals to your emotions. So a lot of times when you see propaganda, it's working on your emotions, not really your critical thinking. these different things. The dopamine reward system, influence, which shapes your behavior, and propaganda. How when you see something repeatedly, this impacts your emotions. Now you tied to the Strait of Hormuz. Every morning you stressing and worrying about what's going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz. That is propaganda. That's why people aren't talking about the Epstein files anymore. They're talking about something totally different. That's propaganda. So how do we get out of this whole little dopamine influence propaganda state? Let's talk about dopamine and truly break it down, because it's often a misunderstood chemical. People think that it's purely like a pleasure, but that's totally incomplete. Dopamine is released in anticipation of a reward, not just the reward itself. Now, that is very key when we talk about dopamine. It's the anticipation of a reward. So your brain becomes addicted to the anticipation of the reward, the expectation, not just the outcome. So that's why if you are on here and you're doing mostly like strolling, engaging, commenting, you're not on the creator side, then you're getting addicted to the anticipation of a reward. And you never get a reward for real. Unless the reward is that hit of dopamine and you're like, oh my God, that made me laugh. Oh my goodness, this made me feel. So something is happening in your body and you can't see it because it's neurochemical, right? And that's the key. Basically, this is the dopamine receptors and it shows genetics, addiction, mood, and schizophrenia when the dopamine is released to these different receptors, right? You can see some of the dopamine receptors. You see they're broken down into different types. You got DRD1, DRD2, DRD3, DRD4, DRD5, and they do different things. It's just basically showing that it goes even deeper than, you know, just dopamine release, but it goes to different types of receptors. If you're having this being released all day through social media, this is actually having an impact on your receptors. So something is happening. That's why it's changing your emotions. That's why it's changing your behavior. That's why it's causing you to doom scroll, because you're getting this positive feeling of a reward, but you're not really doing anything rewarding. You just addicted to feeding the algorithm, or hitting a button, or these pseudo tasks that don't really bring you reward unless you're on the creator side, right? Dopamine is important in how the brain controls movement, and it needs to be balanced. Too much dopamine leads to more movement. Too little dopamine leads to less movement. Also can be involved with like Parkinson's. That's with motion. So dopamine can even impact motion. So you see people who have involuntary movements or tics or things like that, that's too much dopamine, right? And if they have too little dopamine, that's Parkinson's, the emotion part of it. Now, the emotion part of it, dopamine is important to the reward system, right? Not just the reward, but the anticipation of the reward. So too much dopamine leads to euphoria, hallucinations, and psychosis. So that's why when some people can't get that dopamine hit from getting on social media, the kids get addicted to it. That's what they're talking about. That's why you have these lawsuits coming out against these platforms, because the kids get addicted to it and it causes issues. Some kids are actually like, they can't take it. It's like, oh my goodness, you took my dopamine away. Basically, it's like a casino in your pocket. That's what happens when you go to the casino. You'll get people addicted to going to the casino because it's like a game. So even for you now, you're not winning any money, but you just stroll, you going, you strolling, you get bored, you stroll. So back in the day when we were bored as kids, and people probably don't know this now, but we had to find something that was productive to do. Okay, let me write in my journal, or let me go and open up an encyclopedia, or let me go read, or go outside and play. Now it's let me pick up my hit of dopamine on the phone. It's right here in my pocket. Today, I challenge you to think about how many times you pick up your phone. So that's what this is showing. So it leads to all types of different things. Your mood. So it goes deep, the loop. So you get a cue, and y'all know the cue is when you wake up in the morning, you just automatically have that need to want to check social media. You check it, you get a reward, then you get back bored, and then you go back and you check it again. And then you just get into this cycle of checking it all the time. we have a different way to view this loop. Let's go to the next picture so you can see what I'm talking about. This is basically conditioning, but the science version. So they did a study. It's called Pavlov's dog experiment. And you can see the dog before conditioning from the picture. Without conditioning or unconditioned stimulus, you have an unconditioned response, right? Dog sees the food, he starts to salivate because he smells it. His senses, he knows this is food. He's hungry, he's gonna salivate, right? So what they did was they also had a bell, which was a neutral stimulus. When they rang the bell in a non-conditioned environment, the dog didn't have a response. But during conditioning, so this is them training the dog to respond to the bell and salivate with the food. Now when they put the food out, they rang the bell so the dog knows that it's time to eat. So he starts to salivate already before he even gets to the food. That's why dopamine it's released in the anticipation of the reward. The reward for the dog is the food. So they rang the bell. After conditioning, now all they have to do is ring the bell and the dog automatically salivates without the food. This is conditioning, kind of like with social media and being distracted. Over time, your brain reduces sensitivity to dopamine. This is called downregulation. This means you got to have more stimulation just to have the same level of satisfaction or the same level of response. Now you have to stroll faster. This is what's going on with the attention span. If your attention span is getting lower and lower and lower, that's why they decrease. Now they need 3-second videos, 7-second videos, because people's attention span is so short that if you don't keep the attention, it's gone. You really got this much time to gain someone's attention. So if you can keep someone's attention on you for that long, you amazing, right? Or you can keep your attention on yourself for that long, you're amazing. If you can sit down and study for that long, you're amazing. Because most people can't. Most people can't even brush their teeth for 2 minutes. Which is why we got timers on the electric toothbrushes so that people don't rush, because when you're brushing your teeth, you're doing something that's boring. Time goes so slow, it's like, dang, this is the longest 2 minutes ever. But if you're on the internet just burning time, it feels like it's going fast. So you need more of the stimulation. So they will have you is it auto stroll that they have on TikTok where it automatically strolls? That's another thing where they're releasing dopamine just from strolling. The same level of satisfaction you used to get from watching a minute video or long form video. That's where shorts came in. Just think about it, shorts. Your attention span is already short, so you gotta have short videos. The long videos, Okay, let me stroll to the next thing because my brain needs something else now. It needs something new. So just think about that. The variable reward system. This is where this becomes super important for platforms like TikTok, Instagram. It's called a variable ratio reinforcement. It's the same model used in gambling. You don't know what the next reward is. You don't know what it will be. It's unpredictable. This increases your dopamine release, guys. That's called the algorithm. What should I put in your algorithm to keep you on this platform so you keep strolling? You've heard that before, but it's called variable ratio reinforcement. So that way you don't know what to expect, but you know something is coming down that you might like. So the algorithm learns you so you can keep basically gambling but strolling. Our phone is kind of engineered like a casino, right in your pocket, but you're not getting zero rewards. Zero. You have to spend 90% of your time creating and the other 10%, engaging if you're gonna do this. But if you're like, I'm not a creator, Dr. Sean, let's go to influence. So remember, influencing is shaping your thinking without force. So these things that you're strolling and you're looking at feels like your idea. That's why if a recipe goes viral on TikTok, everybody's trying to try it because we've all been influenced. It looked really good. I have to try this, So this can influence your diet. This can influence what you cook at night. Just something as simple as that. Just think about how many times you've been strolling and Oh my goodness, I gotta have that. Now you influenced to buy it. That's the thing about TikTok live and shopping. You're being influenced every second to spend money, you know, what you're gonna do politically, what your attention goes to during the day. Okay? How does influencing operate? Influence operates through number one, repetition, number two, emotional salience, and social validation. Instead of thinking deeply within yourself, and that's the difference. Most people are like, well, I get influence to help me to be better. But are you thinking deeply within yourself? Are you thinking deeply? Instead of saying, hey, what is this person doing? Are you thinking inside of yourself about what you want and your future versus, you know, constantly being influenced? Next thing is propaganda. So propaganda is not always political. Sometimes it's that message, to get you to change your emotions and your beliefs. Why is propaganda so important, guys? Because it shapes the perception, it influences behavior, and it limits your critical thinking. Just like influence, you can't go inside and think too deep. With propaganda, it's going to limit your critical thinking. You're going to see the same message over and over and over again. Now you have emotions attached to the message. Now you're going to make a reaction. Now your beliefs change. It's like ads. Ads are propaganda a little bit because you see the same ad 10 times. Everything's trying to get your attention. Are you trying to get your attention? Do you have your attention? Is your cup overflowing with self-love and self-motivation and self-care and all the things that you truly believe and you think about critically deep inside of you, not what you saw on the internet? Why is propaganda so dangerous? Because a lot of this is fear-based headlines and it'll get you caught up in the loop. You get this fear-based headline, the dopamine gets released. Now you want to know what's going on next. You get another constant outrage cycles, constantly having outraging content on your timeline, fighting and arguing and just drama, not healthy. Another thing is idealized lifestyles that are just like so perfect. You're strolling, you can get caught up in that. It's just different type of content that can get you caught up in it, and now you're not critically thinking on your own. And our brain is going to prioritize emotions over logical content because fear is going to spread a lot faster than facts. And you guys know that fear, negativity, all these things spread faster than facts because they play on more dopamine. More people are going to, oh, this is what I was looking for. When you have all this propaganda, all of this influence coming into your timeline, all these different things on your brain, you were going to sleep with the phone. You got the phone on your hip, on your desk, in your ear, in your eyes. They trying to put the information in the eyeglasses now. You're automatically overexposed. So that's why we have things in our phones and that can say, hey, you've been on this app for 30 minutes. You met your limit for today. You have those settings. Do you really have to have those settings? Are we not in control of our own time to the point where we don't have to pick it up at dinner, pick it up everywhere we go? You're thinking about your timeline. It's too much. You are processing more faces and opinions and more information than humans historically have processed for months in just like a day. More faces, emotions, opinions, whether good or bad, more information. Is just information overload sometimes. How do you streamline that? This is cognitive overload. Your brain is having to make too many decisions too fast and seeing too much in a 3-second span. Just imagine. It would be interesting for them to put how many videos you strolled today. Like, even if you didn't stop on them, I would like to see the stats on that. Cognitive overload. Decision fatigue. You have so many decisions that you can't make a decision because it's just too many decisions. That's decision fatigue. The lack of focus and anxiety. Because you feel now you feel like you're behind. 90% creative, 10% engaging. Not 90% engaging, 10% creative. That's totally backwards for what your brain should be doing. You have a very important brain here. It's capable to do so much, and it's also capable of being manipulated. It's also capable of losing the attention and being in a loop of just It feels like you're being rewarded when you're not. You're not doing anything rewarding in your life. Maybe you're rewarding all of the creators, but are you rewarding yourself by just like creating something yourself and taking your time back? So, your attention is your life, as you can see here. So, what is the solutions to rebuilding control? Let's go over these and then I'm going to be out. Number one, time restriction. Limit the exposure to control windows. You got to put yourself on some time restrictions. And if you can't do that, at least before bed and first thing in the morning, try to have your own morning routine before you add the algorithm to your routine. Make sure you look in the mirror, wash your face, speak some affirmations, do something that you want to do for you. Take care of you first before you take care of the algorithm. Number two, effort-based rewards. So engage in activities that require effort, working on your business, exercising, learning. This is why people don't want to learn. It's hard to sit down and learn and be in a classroom for an hour. People don't do that because it's just like, oh, I want to do something easy. I'd rather just go to work and make this money. They don't want to learn a skill that's going to increase the amount you get paid for your time. So now you can spend your time doing other things that you like. But it's just like, oh, no, I don't have the attention span. So take back your attention span, guys. Restore your dopamine sensitivity because right now it's being hijacked. Your dopamine sensitivity is like not there. You got to take it back. Number three, reduce stimulus density. Reduce the amount of stimulus you're putting into your eyesight, into your brain every single day because everything you watch is a stimulant and it's going to cause a reaction, a release of some form. Normally that's dopamine. Less input going to be better cognitive processing. Number four is stillness. Stillness, meditating, yoga, grounding. This is all going to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So it shifts you from a stressful mindset to a recovery mindset where you're just still, you're training your brain to be okay with boredom versus I'm bored, let me pick up my phone. Up, I'm bored, let me pick up my phone. Up, I'm bored all day. All this is funny. All this is bad. All this happened all day. Go back to a peaceful state of mind where you're in control of the algorithm and you are creating versus being influenced and propagated. Attention training. Again, attention is your life. Practice sustained focus. If you only have a 3-second focus right now, start with 15 minutes. Try to do 15 minutes of work without picking up your phone and then go even longer. It's going to help you rebuild those neural pathways so that you can concentrate better. It's hard to sit down and do work for long periods of time if your attention is lacking or if you're constantly distracted by this casino in your pocket. We live now in a system that is designed to fragment our attention, is designed to hijack your attention, is designed to hijack your dopamine neurotransmitter system so that you're getting the anticipation of rewards with not ever getting the reward. Unless you're on the content creator side, but even then you must be careful in this game because you can even get caught up in constantly having to get on a platform and work and do all these things and not taking care of yourself. Fabby Speaks, thank you for joining the fan club and getting that daily heart meal. Ask yourself that question. Am I training my brain or is my environment training me today?